What's up, everybody? It's Gary B, and this is the Sports Card Strategy Show. Because you know this, there is no off-season.
No off-season! When you get into this game, the reason why you pay someone like Paul Hickey to get your sports card strategy together is because when you're starting out, you need perspective, you need wisdom, you need insights. And so he's been around the track enough times where he can actually coach you up and guide you. Doesn't mean he's going to take you to the promised land tomorrow, but you now have a coach by your side that can advise and kind of even create these pathways where you can get the education yourself. And that's a lot better than thugging it out on your own.
What? The kids better buy my rookie card now, because after this year, the price ain't coming down.
Welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Paul Hickey. It's time to sit back, listen, learn, and earn with me on the Sports Card Strategy Show. What is your sports card strategy heading into 2026, everybody? Believe me, I get it. It can be quite confusing to try to figure out how to make money flipping sports cards. You know, if you're new to the hobby or if you're rejoining the hobby after a 20 or 30 year hiatus collecting as a kid, you're probably blown away by the high dollar cards that are being pulled out of packs, people buying into breaks and getting lucky on social media all the time. And I can assure you that that's not actually what's happening. There are people that are losing thousands of dollars buying wax, trying to get lucky, and buying into breaks, trying to get lucky. And that is not the way to make money flipping sports cards. How do you make money flipping sports cards? Through data-driven sports card investing, which is what we teach you at nooffseason.com and on the Sports Card Strategy Show. And today on the Sports Card Strategy Show, I am going to give you a sports card strategy for 2026. How to spend $15,000 on sports cards in 2026 and make 20 to 50% on that $15,000. And some of you might see this as a boring thing to do. But I assure you, when you're profiting 20 to 50% consistently and you got the execution down and you've applied the principles that I teach you at nooffseason.com and that I'm going to give you on today's episode, and you've executed at the end of the 365-day period. And, you know, maybe it's not literally 365 days. Maybe it's 400 days. Maybe it's 450 days. Whatever it is, you're going to be up, and that is going to be a lot more fun than blowing your load in breaks, blowing your load on wax at frickin' Target every time you take your family shopping. Stop doing that. Okay? Now, there's also a lot of people that try to do the right things. They try to do the things that I talk about on the Sports Card Strategy Show and that I have taught our members at nooffseason.com how to do. But they're still not doing it the right way. So this episode is for you as well, okay? And that's why it's titled How to Spend $15,000 on Sports Cards in 2026 and Make 20 to 50% profit. All right, so data-driven sports card investing. Again, welcome to the nooffseason.com family. We are happy to have you with us to help you make money flipping sports cards. On today's show, we're going to break down a $15,000 budget on sports cards, like I said, to profit 20 to 50% at the end of the year. We're going to talk about the top selling markers in 2026, and then how to think about buying sports cards aiming for the top selling markers in 2026, and the do's and don'ts for that strategy, okay? We're going to talk about how to incorporate buying sports cards that aren't dependent on selling markers, all right? And why grading is a numbers game. You can't just submit low volume and expect to win. Timing the market and timing your grading submissions is key, all right? So in the interest of keeping our strategies and plays exclusive to a small group of premium members, we have capped our total premium membership number at nooffseason.com to only 500 paid members at any given time. Many of you have listened to the Sports Card Strategy Show for a long time now and have thought about subscribing but have been waiting. I'm here to tell you there's only a few spots left. Your wait is over, people. Don't let someone else grab your spot. It's also a great holiday gift, all right? So you might have family members asking you, hey, dad, hey, uncle, hey, nephew, hey, cousin, hey, son, hey, aunt, hey, mom. What can I get you for the holidays? You know, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for Hanukkah? What do you want? You know, whatever it may be. Hey, get me one of the few remaining subscriptions at nooffseason.com. All right? Because that's the gift, the true gift that keeps on giving, my friends, is you're going to buy sports cards, you're going to have those assets, and then you're going to make 20 to 50% on those assets. All right? So nooffseason.com helps you make real profits flipping sports cards with insider data, proven strategies, and exclusive access to undervalued cards before the rest of the market catches on. All right, our new My Athletes feature has been helping premium members make money by buying the right card for the right player at the right time. Now, some of you might not be blinking at the title of this episode, how to spend $15,000 on sports cards and profit 20 to 50% throughout the year. Others might be falling out of your chair, but a couple of different things I'm going to do to kind of help you understand where I'm coming from with this strategy. Number one, I mean, it's real. It's real. Like think about, like, look at your bank account. Okay. And even if you've been in the hobby for a few months, hobbyists tend to go all in. I know you guys. I know you fuckers. All right. You can't hide. You can't hide behind your iPhones, your Spotify accounts. You can't hide behind your computers. However you are consuming this content. All right. You can't hide. I know you. And I know that even if you've been in this hobby for a few months, you've already spent several $1,000s. And you might say, oh man, I don't have that big of a budget, Paul. I call BS on you. All right. Go back into your bank account and look at how much money you've spent on sports cards over the last however many years that you've been in the hobby. All right. And then I promise you, this is something you don't want to do because it's like taking stock of how many calories you eat in a day. All right. You know that if you go back through your bank account, that you have blown money on BS or trying to chase a hit. Okay. Whether it's a hobby box that you've ordered, whether it's going to your local hobby shop and chumming it up with the fellas behind the counter, I might try to pull a blah, blah, blah out of this box. And then you get crap. All right. Okay. Well, you chalk it up to, I just had fun. Okay. Yeah, sure. Keep telling yourself that. Was that fun? I don't think so. I'll tell you who it was fun for. It was fun for the shyster who sold you the hobby box at the hobby shop. That's who it was fun for. I don't think it was fun for you at all. All right. So just be real with yourself and don't roll your eyes at me. I'm not the one telling you to go blow your money on a lottery ticket. Okay. Cause that's basically what a lot of you have been doing. All right. So, again, go back, look at your bank account, do an analysis, and just be real with yourself. All right. You probably $15,000 sounds like a lot of money to spend in a year. It's not. It's not. And not even just on the sports card hobby, but look, if you're a golfer, if you like to travel, if you like whatever it is, if you have like a guilty pleasure at like a donut shop or a Thai food place or whatever, $15,000 in a year is not a lot of money. It's not. And so what I'm telling you to do is put it into specific sports card plays in 2026. And oh, by the way, you will profit. Okay. So here's why I can say that. And I can look you in the eye and I can be dead honest with you about what I've done and how this goes. All right. Because I got back into the hobby after a 30-year hiatus at the end of 2020. All right. It took me all of 2021 and all of 2022 to figure out how to make money flipping sports cards. Then and only then did I launch the premium product at nooffseason.com and start charging people for it. All right. Because I had figured out how to help people make money flipping sports cards. All the while I had the Sports Card Strategy Show. Sports Card Strategy Show started in early 2021. All right. So that whole process has been documented. My wins, my losses, everything. Now we're at a place where 2023 went better. 2024 went better. But look, at the end of 2024, I was like, I can do better. I can do way better. And so a year ago, I said, I didn't give myself a dollar amount, but I said, I am only going to buy 5 players. Many of you have heard this. All right. And I'm not going to get into that today because I've already documented that quite a bit on the premium pod at nooffseason.com for premium members and here on the Sports Card Strategy Show. All right. But what I have as a result of that strategy is, I think, more valuable. And that's what I'm sharing with you today and at nooffseason.com. And what that is a breakdown. Okay. A breakdown of what kinds of cards that I bought and what kinds of cards did well and didn't do as well. All right. And so I'm going to give you an overview of that right now, just to talk about the overall budget of $15,000. And if you think it's a lot of money, I'm going to tell you in 2025, okay? Because look, it's December 8th today. It's Monday, December 8th, 2025. So 2025, for all intents and purposes, is over, right? I mean, like, I'm still making plays. It's buying season. We've talked a lot about that on the Sports Card Strategy Show. I'm making a lot of buys right now, and intentionally not making a lot of sales. I'm loading up in December because that's the time to load up. And then I am selling throughout 2026. Okay. So that's why a lot of today's show is on buying, what to buy. Okay. So in 2025, of the sports cards I sold, okay, of the cards I have sold, and I'll talk about the ones that I'm still holding in a second. Of the sports cards I have sold, my total cost, I'll pause for a second so you guys can verbally say a number into your iPhone or your Spotify apps or YouTube or however you're watching this. My total cost, so the total amount of money that I spent on cards that I sold was, go ahead, say it to yourself. All right, your guesses are in. Okay. It was $36,853. Okay. That is that's almost like it's 2.3 repeating. It's 2.3 repeating times the amount of $15,000, right? 15 times 2 is 30, and then 6,853 more is a little over, it's between 33 and 40%. So I've basically 2.4x'd the budget that I gave you. So like, that's what I'm saying. 15,000 is not a lot of money. I'm just a normal dude. Like, I'm not rich. Like, I'm a normal freaking dude. All right. And I spent $36,853 on sports cards, including grading fees. Okay. Including grading fees. Now, here's the deal. Of those sales, so again, that's the total number that I spent on cards that I have sold. All right. Of those sales, I am up 27.4% net profit. That's pretty freaking good. So I am up $10,104. This means at the end of the day, I have walked away with, after spending $36,853, I have walked away with a total of $46,957. That's pretty freaking good. Okay. Now, in addition to that, I spent $14,481 on sports cards that I'm still holding, many of which are still in grading, or I'm simply waiting for a future selling marker. So really, all of them I'm waiting for a future selling marker. Some of them are still in grading. All right. Now, in this episode, I'm going to tell you how I did it in 2025 and help you prepare for how you can do it in 2026. But before I do that, let's just break this down for a second. Okay, I'm holding $14,418 worth of cards. Now, I'm going to list you those cards right now. It's only 30 cards, by the way. And so actually what's kind of funny about this is there's cards that are at grading that okay, let me just backtrack. Here's the deal. It's only 30 cards. All right. But if you rewind your podcast apps and break down what I said, or maybe you caught this already, I'll say it for you again. I'm up $10,104. I'm holding $14,418. $418 worth of cards. I'm going to tell you what those cards are right now, and we're going to agree that I'm going to be up at least another 25% after selling these cards. I just am. But let's just say that, let's just pretend, worst case scenario, I shit the bed and none of these cards are worth anything. I would still be only down $4,000 because I'm already up 10,000 and I'm holding 14,000. Okay. So even if I shit the bed and none of these cards sell for anything, which is obviously not going to happen, I'd still only be down $4,000. That's pretty freaking good. So let's get into the cards. And I think you're going to see that I'm going to make another 25+% profit on these cards, which in that case would put me at a total net profit of around $15,000 for the year, which is pretty good. I mean, that's what I tell people. And that's actually been the read on the Sports Card Strategy Show that I've told people in the past, where I've read on the show, like a promotion to join nooffseason.com. I say, spend $3,000, make $15,000 profit. I think I've actually used 10,000. I've already made my 10,000. And so what people get when they join nooffseason.com is they get me and my tools, the tools that I've built for myself that I'm sharing with only 500 people. All right. So I'm not sitting here telling you you're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars flipping sports cards doing what I'm doing. Could you? Sure. But you would have to have, again, you'd have to have 10 times the amount. You'd have to be spending $360,000 to make $100,000. Right? Not many of you are going to do that. But if you can spend $15,000, well, yeah, I think you can make 27%, 30%. What's 30% of 15,000? Let's just do that math real quick together. 15,000 times 1.3 is $19,500. So you could make $4,500 net profit by spending $300 at nooffseason.com or $30 a month, however you want to do that. It's $300 for the year. Could you make 10,000? Yeah, but you would need to spend what I'm spending, which is 36,000. You just have to scale it up. It's just math. You just scale it up. So, all right, here are the cards that I'm holding. 3 Anthony Edwards 2020 Prism Silver PSA 10s, 2 Arch Manning 2023 Prism Draft Pick Saturday Stars Signatures Rated Rookie Autos, Panini sealed. One is a silver, one is a base. Caitlin Clark Panini Instant Rated Rookie PSA 10s, 2 of them. 1 Caitlin Clark Panini Prism Silver, that's at BGS right now. 1 Caitlin Clark WNBA Prism 145 Orange out of 99, got a BGS 8. 1 Caitlin Clark WNBA Prism 22 Red out of 299, got a BGS 9. 1 Caitlin Clark Panini Prism WNBA 145 Blue out of 199, PSA 9 that I bought already graded. 1 Caitlin Clark Panini Prism WNBA Blue Pulsar out of 199.22. It's at PSA right now. 1 Caitlin Clark Panini Prism WNBA Cracked Ice 22 raw to grade PSA right now. 1 Caitlin Clark Panini Prism WNBA Ice 145 raw to grade, that's at CGC right now. 3 Jaden Daniels cards. 1 is a 2024 Topps Midnight Summer Solstice Rookie Patch Auto PSA 9 out of 50. 1 is a 2024 Panini Donruss Downtown raw to grade at PSA right now. And 1 is a Jaden Daniels 2024 Panini Optic Downtown that I graded at PSA that got a 9. 2 LeBron James, actually, yeah, 2 LeBron James Topps 2003 221. One's a PSA 9, one's an SGC 9. 1 LeBron James 2003 Topps Chrome 111 PSA 7. 2 Michael Jordan cards that are at PSA right now. One's a 1987 Fleer 59. It was an SGC 6.5 that I cracked and subbed to PSA. 1 Patrick Mahomes 2017 Panini Optic 177 Rated Rookie PSA 10. 4 Shohei Ohtani cards that are at PSA right now. 1 Steph Curry 2009 Topps Auto reprint card that I bought in a Beckett slab that's at PSA right now. 2 Victor Wembanyama, Prism Silver 136 that are at PSA right now. All right. So, and one 2024 Topps Mercury out of 75 non-auto. That's a PSA 7. All right. So, the reason I say that I'm going to do really well on those cards is because of how I bought them. I bought them in auctions, during times when they were down. Okay. So look, I assessed what had gone really well for me pre-2025 and what had gone really poorly for me pre-2025. And I weeded out what had gone poorly, and I focused on what had gone well and also areas of opportunity that I had seen data indicating that I could do really well. And I went all in on that strategy of 5 players, and it went really well for me. All right. So I'm really happy about 2025. I'm going to do even better in 2026, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about how you can do better in 2026. You can do better in 2020. Even if here's the thing, this is what I love about this. And this is why I'm really glad that you're all listening to this show. Even if you're starting today and you know nothing about sports cards or athletes, you just think this is super freaking cool. You can do better in 2026 than I did in 2025, just simply by listening to this show. And, well, not just simply by listening to this show, but by listening to this show and, you guessed it, joining nooffseason.com. All right. So, people have asked me on our premium podcast, hey, Paul, what are the top selling markers in 2026? This is something that I talk about a lot. I talk about don't buy a card without a selling marker in mind. And that's true for any strategy that you're going to employ. That's kind of the number one. The number one thing is don't buy anything that you're not going to be able to sell. All right. Just don't do it. Now, if you really want to make profit, which is what we're all about, you need to only buy something with a selling marker in mind. Now, what is a selling marker? Well, a selling marker is points during the year that drive up values of specific cards by 20% or more, because you're going to need 20% of an increase in value from where you bought something to truly profit on it. Because there's fees, and there's not so much like opportunity cost or anything like that, but there's actual fees, and then there's transaction fees when you sell, right? Transaction fees when you sell. So whether you sell on eBay, whether you sell on Fanatics Collect, whether you sell on, one of the other marketplaces, there's transaction fees when you sell. There just is. Even on My Slabs and places that use PayPal goods and services, things like that. So you're going to want to look at things on the calendar that are going to likely drive up your cards or the cards that you're about to buy by 20% or more. And I know these markers because I study historical data and context around the historical data. That's very important. So top selling markers in 2026, I'm going to read off some things that are on the calendar because that's the base. The base is starting with events that are on the calendar. All right. So preseason hype for every sports season always will drive prices up if you bought the right card for the right player at the right time, which we'll talk about in this episode. Enough to make money. So here's the preseason hype that we're looking at for the major sports this year. March will be for MLB baseball, and there'll be the World Baseball Classic. Okay, so the World Baseball Classic in the past has driven up card prices for players that are in the World Baseball Classic that play well. Shohei Ohtani is going to be far and away number one. He would have been number one even without the World Baseball Classic, but now that he's playing in the World Baseball Classic or says he's going to play in the World Baseball Classic, that is a selling marker. So the start of the MLB training camp, preseason, and the World Baseball Classic, that's all March, okay? May, there's the WNBA. WNBA season starts in May, all right? August is the NFL and college football, and October is NBA basketball. So those 4 months, March, May, August, October. All right, for the start of those major sports seasons, historically, year after year, drive up prices, not year over year, but season over season. So for example, if you're buying baseball cards now, okay, for the top players, the right card for the right player at the right time. If you're buying WNBA cards now, if you're buying injured quarterbacks right now for football, or they don't have to be injured, maybe they're underperforming, okay? If you're buying injured or underperforming NBA stars now, or even in June or whatever, right? Like, then you're holding them to August for football or October for basketball. You're going to make money like that. Those are selling markers. All right. Now you got to buy the right card for the right player at the right time. You can't just go buy any basketball card now and sell it in October and make money. It's not going to work that way. You can't just go buy any WNBA card now, sell it in May. You can't just go buy any baseball card now, sell it in March. It's not going to work that way. All right. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that in the episode. Right now, we're just talking about selling markers. Now there's event-specific selling markers. So event-specific, the Masters in April, obviously. The NBA Summer League is a big one that I think most sports card content creators totally overlook. We don't overlook it here at nooffseason.com because it is a tried and true selling marker. And it's for specific players. It's for like second year players, players going into their second year, players going into their rookie year. So for example, we could see Ace Bailey be a summer league star this July, right? We could see Walter Clayton Jr. if he doesn't get a whole lot of time this season, but he's a first round pick this past year. We could see him. So like, if you go buy like Walter Clayton, like let's say Walter Clayton Jr. autos are like dirt cheap and like May and June because the Jazz missed the playoffs and nobody cares about Walter Clayton Jr. I'm just saying hypothetical. That as an example, and you go buy, and then he 1 month later like lights it up in the summer league, like you will make a lot of money. Okay, so I'm just saying the summer league, the MLB All-Star break in July, and then in tennis. So tennis is one that we haven't talked about a lot, but it's been popping up on our radar for Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz as let's look at the major events in tennis. So the Australian Open is mid-January through February 1st. The French Open is going to be May 18th through June 7th. Wimbledon's probably the biggest one, June 29th through July 12th. And then the US Open, another big one, August 30th through September 12th. So like maybe buying Carlos Alcaraz right now makes sense. And we've added him to our athletes database at nooffseason.com. And so now that we've added him to our athletes database at nooffseason.com, you can go add Carlos Alcaraz to your athletes and you can track his auctions for his autos. Maybe you find one, maybe you snipe one using our My Athletes feature at nooffseason.com, and then you sell it. Maybe it goes up as early as February 1st if he wins the Australian Open. But maybe it doesn't go up until he is in Wimbledon. And then, and so the hype of him being in Wimbledon, and this will apply to all of the selling markers that I just mentioned, the hype will drive a certain amount of profit. Performance spike on top of selling marker hype will drive it to the moon, right? And the example I always give is like I bought 2 Paul Skeens autos and the raw to grade was the play, and I made a ton of money going from raw to PSA 10, but then I held the PSA 10. I held both PSA 10s until he actually was starting in the All-Star game. And that was a huge performance spike because he had played so well leading into the All-Star game. And then I had like the 2 top sales of that card of all time. So if you can, the reason I just explained it to you that way is because what you want to do is you don't want to buy a card with a performance spike in mind, because 9 times out of 10, the performance spike's not going to happen. That's like sports betting or sports gambling, right? What you want to do is you want to buy a card with a selling marker in mind that's already on the calendar of someone who has a chance at a performance spike. If they do get that performance spike, now you've maybe 10x'd your 20%. You know what I mean? Maybe you're making 200% instead of 20%. But you want to at least make the 20%. So that's the thought. All right. NoOffseason.com helps you make real profits flipping sports cards with insider data, proven strategies, and exclusive access to our undervalued cards before the rest of the market catches on. Membership is limited to just 500 people. Once we're full, we're full. Yeah, we are almost full. All right. So get in. Okay. So now we're going to get into the $15,000 budget. A lot of the buying principles that I've alluded to so far in this episode will come to light here. The first one we're going to talk about is how to think about buying sports cards aiming for the top selling markers in 2026. So let's just go backwards here. Like Carlos Alcaraz, okay? Maybe he is a guy that you can go use our My Athletes feature at nooffseason.com. And maybe you can, go and add him to your athletes and look at his top auctions. And while it is, December and no one's really thinking about tennis, you can go, okay, well, here's a 2024 Topps Chrome Auto, PSA 9 Auto Grade 10. 4 days left. It's at $295, 9 bids. All right. I'm going to bid on that. I'm just going to bid on that. And if I win that card, I'm getting fair market value for the card, which means I'm not losing because there's a comp. So if I get buyer's remorse and I want to sell it a month later, I should get at least what I paid for it. Right. Because it's a card that, sold by a reputable seller, has multiple bids. I'm not overbidding. I'm not overpaying. I'm using nooffseason.com, which is feeding me the types of cards that are desirable for this particular athlete. And so, yeah, now here's a Net Pro Premium PSA 8 Carlos Alcaraz auto out of $250. So that's going to be much more expensive. It's not Topps Chrome, but it is 2 years prior to the Topps Chrome card. So it's considered his actual rookie card, his actual rookie auto. And there's only 250 of them. So even though it's a PSA 8, it's still a very expensive card. Now, obviously, you would have to, you're taking a much bigger risk if you're paying over $2,000 for a card than if you're paying, $500 for a card. But they're still both great buys. And what you're doing is you're using the principle of, I'm buying Carlos Alcaraz. I'm paying fair market value for a desirable card. And if I need the money back, I'm probably not going to lose because I can basically sell for what I paid for. But the real strategy is to hold to see, do his cards spike huge if he wins the Australian Open? Maybe he gets injured and his card goes down a little bit. That's fine. You've still got 3 other major tournaments and you're still holding one of the top cards for one of the top young tennis players in the world. Okay. So it's a sound strategy. It's going to pay off at some point. And that's an example of how to think about buying the top sports cards, aiming for the top selling markers in 2026. Okay. Now the pros to this strategy, you can use our My Athletes feature at nooffseason.com to guide you. Also, no grading is needed. Okay. Because you're thinking about, what am I buying that's going to move up in value? And you have a reason. You have a reason for why it's going to move up in value. And you're not overpaying, meaning you're not making a best offer on a low pop card. You can get screwed making offers on low pop cards. You need to buy at comps. And by buying in auctions, you're buying at comps, okay? And sometimes you're getting a heck of a deal. So pros to the strategy, you're paying fair market value, no grading needed. The risk to this strategy is if nothing happens in real life to drive demand for the card you buy, then you can lose those fees, those marketplace fees, and possibly more, right? Possibly more. Now, the key to this strategy, the key to executing the strategy are timing and patience, all right? We're about to look at data that shows huge fluctuation in prices of cards over a 360-day period. This is key. But waiting to buy in at the low point in auctions is the way to make money, not buying in at the high point. That might seem like a Captain Obvious statement, but not everybody gets it. Not everybody gets that when you look at data of a card, you don't want to buy in if it's up 50% over the last 30 days or 30% over the last 30 days. You want to buy in if it's down 10% over the last 30 days. If it's down, really you want to buy in if it's down 50% over the last 30 days, but it's not a card, but it's not just any card that's down 50%. It's a card that fits the profile of the cards that I'm about to show you. So let's first look at top cards that are down to buy now. Okay. So cards that are down over the last 30 days that you should be looking to buy now and or buy throughout 2026, okay, the remainder of 2025 and into 2026, if they remain, sort of down, if you will, over a period of time, whether it's 30 days, 60, 90 days, 180 days, etc., you want to be identifying guys like LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Shohei Ohtani, Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow, Anthony Edwards, Patrick Mahomes, Luka Doncic, okay? Michael Jordan's 1986 Fleer 57 base PSA 9. Now this is for high rollers. All right. This is for high rollers. Not all of you are going to be able to make this move. But for those of you with a lot of disposable income, this is a pop 3,054 card. So it's available. It's down $1,350. So this is advice. And this is principles that can be applied to everybody, but this is advice for high rollers, this specific example. 1986 Michael Jordan Fleer 57 base PSA 9 down $1,350. Okay. The last sale was $30,000. This card, all right, over the last 365 days has sold for as high as $33,900. Okay. Now it has sold for as low as $12,900. So you do have to be careful. But I mean, its average, its 365-day average is 22.2. It's at 30 now, but somebody less than 30 days ago paid $31,400 for it. Okay. LeBron James 2003 Topps Chrome 111 base PSA 10. That's a pop 24.31. Now this is a high dollar card again. But it is down $1,000. So, and there's not going to be as much debate. Now, a lot of people may be saying, well, be careful on the 1986 Fleer PSA 9 play that Paul just talked about, because eye appeal is a huge thing. And that's true. Like, I'm not saying go buy any PSA 9 Michael Jordan for $30,000 right now because that's the last sale. No, I'm saying it's sold for as high as $33,900. It's sold for as low as $12,900. So that is a card that has fluctuated in value. And if you can find a good one in an auction with good eye appeal, that is a huge opportunity in 2026. Okay. Same with LeBron James 2003 Topps Chrome 111 base PSA 10. Huge opportunity here. It's down $1,000, almost $1,100 over the last 30 days. So the last sale was $65.29. Well, this is a card that sold for as high as $82.80. That sold for $82.80 on September 2nd this year. Okay. So targeting that card. Now it did go for as low as $3,600 January 19th. So I want you guys to be in the $3,600 range. That's a huge opportunity to be buying a card, and then look at what happens in Q3. Q3 goes up to $82.80. At the beginning of basketball season, it sells for $79.11. $79.30, $7,800. Now holiday dip, it's starting to dip $6,100 and $6,500 last sale. Does it dip all the way down to $3,600 again? That's what I want you guys keeping an eye out for. I mean, its average sale in January last year was definitely more in the 4,000s. Its 365-day average is 5,361. That is a huge opportunity. So this is why I talk about timing and patience, right? You can get this card. And you, all of you can afford this card. I think all of you can afford this card. All right. Now, timing and patience. What did I say a minute ago? I said, we're about to look at data that shows huge fluctuations in prices over a 365-day period. This is key, but waiting to buy in at the low point in auctions is the way to make money, not buying in at the high point. Again, don't just go buy that Michael Jordan card. Don't just go buy this LeBron James card. And oh, by the way, if I'm about to lose you because of the price point, stick with me here. Luka Doncic 2018 Prism Silver PSA 10 is a pop $2,400, down $390 over the last 30 days. Holiday dip. Okay, look, this is easily a $1,500 to $2,000 card. It's down to $1,300 because of the holiday dip. Although in May last year, May 19th, it sold for $763. December 12th, $917. All right. It sold for $1,775 2 months later. I mean, there's a huge fluctuation of this card. Here's another fluctuation. October 18th, it sold for $1,250. And then October 23rd, $1,700. All right. So it's dipping again. It's $1,300. There's no reason why this wouldn't sell for $1,775 in February when more people care about basketball, a couple months after the holiday dip. Now we're in a situation where if he goes to the NBA Finals as a Laker, oh my God, this thing easily is a $2,500 card. I'm going to flag plant right now. Luka Doncic Prism Silver 2018 PSA 10. If he goes to the NBA Finals as a Laker, which again, so that's what I was talking about earlier. I was talking about you buy a card like this. If you can get it for the $1,300 or less price, you're going to make money on it regardless, because you're going to have multiple opportunities, regardless of what happens with Luka Doncic throughout the next 365 days, to sell it for a profit, 20% profit. If he goes to the NBA Finals as a Laker, it goes up to $2,500 for sure. That, my friends, is pairing a selling marker with a performance spike. All right. So now let's go to, wrapping this up. Spend $5,000 on these types of cards. All right. Of your $15,000, spend $5,000 on these types of cards. Now, what you're going to have to do, because you can see some of them are much more expensive. Typically, these are cards that are $500 or more. All right. So what you're going to have to do is lose auctions. All right. Anytime there's a Luka Doncic 2018 Prism Silver PSA 10 up for auctions, bid on it, but make your max bid like $1,163.42 or something. And if you don't want to do that, make it $899.42. If there's one that's a buy it now or best offer up for $1,300, make an offer for $999 and be like, hey, do you need Christmas money? Because I'll buy this for you $999 right now. I mean, it's sold for less than that a few times last year. You know what I mean? So like, go after it, but don't go after it so that you win it. Go after it so that you get it at the cost that you need to get it at in order to make money based on the historical data. Okay, so that is how to make money, buying the right card for the right player at the right time with the selling marker in mind. Now, we're going to get into the next two segments I like way more, because they're honestly just math. And you don't have to have a selling marker in mind to make money on these. You just have to execute the strategy that I'm about to give you, and the strategy that you get at nooffseason.com. Remember, either way, especially for the previous segment, you have to be okay losing auctions. But segment number 3 here, it's a numbers game. This is where we get into $5,000. $5,000 of your $15,000 budget should go to raw to grade plays. All right. So Now, you're going to get these cards back before selling markers. That's the key thing. So don't buy these. Like, you still need to have a selling marker in mind, but you don't need a selling marker to make money on them like you do the last group of cards. For this, you just need basically to execute this bulk play that I'm about to give you, but you still want to get them submitted to a grading company either consistently or by a specific time period so that you at least have some back before a prospective selling marker. And you'll see one of these cards that I'm about to give. Let me give you 3 examples. One of these cards I'm about to give you is less selling marker dependent than the others. But the timing is different with this. You have to buy safer guys with a longer track record and more hype. Reason being is because of the PSA backlog. All right. The PSA backlog has sort of changed slightly the raw to grade strategy moving forward into 2026. You want to avoid guys like Drake May. All right. I'm using Drake May as an example because Drake May has been hot this year. And what'll happen is you'll look at our sports card rankings of no offseason at nooffseason.com and you'll be like, wow, Drake May's got some cards in the top 20. I'm going to do a bunch of raw to grade Drake May plays. Fine. You can still do that. I'm not saying avoid him, but don't expect necessarily the same ROI numbers that the rankings give you because he's hot right now. So what happens to the PSA 10 upside when you get the cards back 90 plus days after you submitted them to PSA? Well, we don't know. Because so I want you to know that going in, you don't have to avoid Drake May, but I just think you should buy safer guys with a longer track record and more hype in their careers and buy more proven cards and not necessarily guys who have just been like super hot recently. Okay. So again, how do you do this? You use the sports card raw to grade rankings and raw to grade calculator at nooffseason.com. Got to be a premium member. Limited spots remaining. Sign up now. I'm going to give you 3 examples though for free here. All right. And I'm going to break down a little bit more about why this makes sense because I know that our sports card rankings help make money. They were the first tool that I built that really started working for me. And that was really the jumping off point to nooffseason.com becoming like more of a mass success in the hobby was our sports card ranking because there's nothing else like it. There's still nothing like it. So we just use math from a raw to grade standpoint and sometimes from a graded to crack and submit to another grading company standpoint to prioritize plays. Okay. So the rankings are a cheat sheet in a focus area. But what I did here for this episode is I went a little bit further and I calculated a little bit more of a risk factor involved. And I'll explain here in a second. So let's start breaking down the first card. So right now, and this card's been in the top 10 in our sports card rankings ever since we launched the sports card rankings about 2 years ago. And it's done people really, really well. People have done really, really well with this at nooffseason.com. Tiger Woods 2001 Upper Deck base number 1. Buying this card raw at $22 a card, which is the average over the last 30 days. And grading, I have a $25 grading fee in here. So $47 per card. You can buy with a $5,000 budget. So this is basically like saying, we're going to spend your $5,000 raw to grade budget. We're going to pick one of these 3 cards. Okay. That's the strategy. Pick one of these 3 cards for the year. That's the only card you're going to buy raw to grade. Sounds crazy, right? But it'll work. It'll work. Now, do you have to do that? Can you mix and match? You can mix and match. You don't have to do one of these 3 cards, but I'm going to throw this out there for you. I'm going to throw this out there to consider. In 2026, pick one of these 3 cards to buy raw and grade, and that's it. Here's how it'll go for you, all right? You'll be able to buy 106 of these Tiger Woods cards with your $5,000 budget. You'll be able to buy and grade 106 of these Tiger Woods cards with your $5,000 budget. Okay. PSA 9s are break evens. And that's the part of the reason why I picked the 3 cards that I'm talking to you about today is because PSA 9s are break evens on all of them, which is pretty cool. Makes the math easy too. So if you get all PSA 8s, Okay, PSA 8s sell for $20. If you get all PSA 8s, you'd be down $2,900. And you can do this math on your own, but I'm just doing it quick here for you. So that means you would only need 10 PSA 10s out of 106 to make money on every PSA 8 or higher after that. Because what would happen is the 10 PSA 10s would make up for all of your loss on the cards that didn't get PSA 10s. So as long as you don't have many 5s, 6s, 7s, etc. within this 106 cards, let's say mostly you have 8s and 9s after the 10 10s, you would make profit on every single PSA 8 or higher if you got 10 PSA 10s. What is 10 PSA 10s out of 106? It's a 9% gem rate. What is the all-time gem rate on this card? 9%. All right. So you can't sit here and tell me that I don't know what I'm doing. People at nooffseason.com have made this play. You can poke holes in this all day long, but it works. All right. If you spend $5,000 grading 106 Tiger Woods 2001 Upper Deck base cards, and you use our tools at nooffseason.com, we have video tutorials to help you pick gradable cards, right? So you're not just going and you're not buying a lot of 106 Tiger Woods cards, because if you do that, I guarantee you're going to get a bunch of shit from people that have already graded them, or they have creases in them. They know they're not going to gem, etc. I'm not saying go buy any 106 of these. I'm saying take your time throughout a 365-day period of time. All right. So this is the whole year, right? Don't blow your load in January or during the holiday dip because you misheard what Paul Hickey was saying. Paul Hickey is telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. This is a year-long thing to find these 106 cards. Why? Because you're going to lose auctions, because people are going to overpay. All right. You're not going to overpay. That's number one. So you're going to lose auctions. Number two, there's cards you're not going to bid on. There's a lot of cards you're going to not bid. You're going to fade most of the Tiger Woods cards you see. Most of the 2001 Upper Deck cards you see. Why? Because they're not going to be gradable. You're going to use our centering tool at nooffseason.com. It's not going to be centered properly. We have centering school at nooffseason.com to teach you what the centering is on this card, by the way. All right. Because you'll look at it, you'll be like, how do I center this? Another tool at nooffseason.com. You're welcome. All right. So, the other reason why this is going to take you a year is because, again, you're going to be patient. You're going to be patient. You're going to wait to bid and go after the Tiger Woods 2001 Upper Deck cards that you think are 8s or above. You're going for 8s or above. Surefire 8s or above. Anything else, you're fading. You're going to get 106 of these. If you do that, you submit them to PSA throughout the year, you're going to get 10 gems. You're going to get your 10 gems. And so that means that every PSA 8, every PSA 9 is a break even. Every PSA 8 after the 10 gems is pure profit. All right. So Shohei Ohtani 2018 Topps Holiday Base is the next one. This is a $35 card. So plus grading per card, you're in $60. That means with $5,000 throughout the year, you can buy 83 of these. Okay. PSA 9s are break evens. So if you get all PSA 8s, you'd be down $2,400. Okay. You'd need 13 PSA 10s out of the 83. That's a 15.6% gem rate, which is super low. You better be able to get that to make money on every single PSA 8 or higher after that. This card, okay, you need to find 13 of them out of your 83. You need to find 15% gem rate. This card is a 66% gem rate. So you should easily, like, of the two cards so far, I'm going with that one. 66% gem rate. You continue to extrapolate the math out at your profit every PSA 8 or above. So you make $12 more per PSA 8 on this card than you do on the Tiger card. And you're going to have way more 10s and you're going to have way more PSA 8s. And in theory, you should have way less grades under 8 because you have this is 17 years newer than the Tiger Woods card. I'm going with this, right? Now, here's another option. Victor Wembanyama's 2023 Prism Silver 136. This is a different tier, which makes it a different option for you to spend your $5,000 at $535 a card. $535 a card. This, before this performance spike of Victor, recent performance spike at the beginning of the NBA season this year, this was like half the price. So you might want to wait for this card to go down. But nevertheless, even with the math of it being up, you'd be $585 into each card. That means you could buy and grade 8 of these with your $5,000. PSA 9s are break evens. All right. So if you get all 8s, you'd be down $2,000. That means you'd need more than one to gem, right? So it's basically like the math is like you need 1.5 PSA 10s. Well, so you need more than one of them to gem. So let's say you get 2 of them to gem. All right. So you get 2 of them to gem. That's a 40% gem rate. This card has a 64% gem rate. So this is another really good one. If you don't want to be in the game of buying 100 or 80 of a particular card to grade, you just want to buy 8. This is your card, right? But again, you got to be just as selective about your 8. So you can make quite a bit of profit with your $5,000 with any of these 3 options. And there's obviously like hundreds more options at nooffseason.com. This is why our sports card rankings work, because they're based on data and foolproof math. At nooffseason.com, we not only provide tons more options in our sports card rankings, but we provide resources to help you find gradable copies of all of these cards online. The best part is that you don't even need to get the top grade each time you buy a card to make money. You just need to narrow your focus, like maybe only picking one card, right? Do you just pick one card to grade in 2026? I think it's a good strategy. You just need to narrow your focus and specific types of cards that will always sell well and have a play in mind. All right. Now, our last like long segment of the day, and I got a quick segment to wrap things up. We've spent $10,000. We spent $5,000 on cards that you didn't need to get graded using our My Athletes feature and the selling markers that we started with, right? We spent $5,000 on raw to grade, and now we're going to spend $5,000 on the pick and stick strategy. What's the pick and stick strategy? The pick and stick strategy is using our PSA 9 to BGS 9.5 rankings and doing a dollar analysis of which one makes the most sense to buy based on a $5,000 budget throughout the year. But like analyzing the downside of not getting the grade that you want. So there's some risk analysis in this. Our rankings at nooffseason.com basically give a list of PSA 9s to buy with BGS 9.5 upside and the ROI on that and help you prioritize. Again, these aren't dependent on selling markers. What I'm about to tell you right now includes the risk factor or the downside of not getting the BGS 9.5, maybe getting the BGS 9 and what would happen. So let's dive into that. All right. Michael Jordan's 1988 Fleer 17 PSA 9 is a pop 8,500. I like all of these cards. The minimum pop count I'm about to read you 5 cards, 5 PSA 9s. This is the minimum pop count. So this means you can find these. Like I talk about finding the intersection of availability and desirability. These are all available and they're all done it for you right here in this episode. You're welcome. And there's more at nooffseason.com. So I want you to join there, but this is free. So let's get into it. With a $5,000 budget at $370, the Michael Jordan 1988 Fleer 17 PSA 9, you can buy 13 of them. If you buy 13 and submit to BGS in hopes of a BGS 9.5, but get all BGS 9s, you'd be selling your BGS 9s for $279. You'd be down $1,200. This means you only need to get one of the 13 to get a BGS 9.5 to make profit. If 2 of them gem at BGS, you make a significant profit. All right. So that's pretty good. Now let's go to the next one. So again, what I want you to do is just pick one of these cards and then spend $5,000 on it in 2026 and then tell me how it goes. All right. Here's the next option. And again, with the Fleer 17 1988 Jordan PSA 9, you're going to see some listed at 420. You're going to see some listed at 500. You want to buy them in an auction. And I'll tell you, I bought this card under $300 in July. So this card's going to go down in the summer, right? I mean, I think this card's going to go down in December and again in June. I think you're going to be able to buy it for less. So I don't necessarily want you to buy all 13 of them now, right? I want you to buy the ones that are card analyzer and predictor tool at nooffseason.com says has the highest likelihood of being a BGS 9.5. Like go through the process. Don't just go buy them. All right. Use the tools at nooffseason.com. Okay. Next card, Michael Jordan, 1991 Upper Deck SP1. So this is the batting practice card for the White Sox. Pop 11,103. Again, you can find this. With a $5,000 budget at $75 a card for PSA 9, you can buy 66 of them. If you buy 66 and submit to BGS in hopes of a BGS 9.5, but get all BGS 9s, right? So $63 per card, you'd be down $800. So you're down $400 less. You're up $400 more dollars if you buy 66 of these versus buying 13 of the more expensive card. Okay, so now you need 6 of the 66 to gem at BGS to break even. So you only need a 9% gem rate with your crossover before you start making profit on every single BGS 9 or higher from there. I mean, that's a good pick right there. All right, let's move next to Barry Sanders, 1989 score. 257 PSA 9, pop 12,926. With a $5,000 budget at $144 a card, you can buy 34 of them. If you buy 34 and submit to BGS in hopes of a BGS 9.5, but get all BGS 9s, now you're selling them at $114. You'd be down $1,200. This means you'd need 5 of the 34 to gem at BGS to break even. So you only need a 15% gem rate at BGS before you start making money on every single BGS 9 or higher from there. Now, there's not one of you who can't do this, right? No excuses. Next card. Kobe Bryant, 1996 tops, 138 base PSA 9, pop 22,192. With a $5K budget at $164 per card, you can buy 30 of them. If you buy 30, submit to BGS with the hopes of a BGS 9.5, but get all BGS 9s, you're selling them at $154. You'd be down $400. That's not that much money, which means you'd only need 1 of them to gem at BGS before you start making profit on every single BGS 9 or higher from there. That's the one I like the most. The one I like the second most is this one. Ken Griffey Jr., 1989 Upper Deck number 1, PSA 9, pop 33,060. With a $5,000 budget at $349, you can buy 14 of them. If you buy 14 and submit to BGS in hopes of a BGS 9.5, but get all BGS 9s, you'd be selling them at $258 a piece. You'd be down $1,400, which means you'd only need 1 of them to gem at BGS before you start making profit on every single BGS 9 or higher from there. Okay, so look, it's a lot of information. It's a lot of data. When it boils down to it, narrow your focus, right? Pick one of these cards, spend $5,000 on it. You're going to make money. I mean, it's just, I've done the work for you. You know, you can't tell me that you can't make money flipping sports cards. And if you're telling me that you're using the tools at nooffseason.com or you're listening to the Sports Card Strategy and you're still not making money flipping sports cards, then we need to have a one-on-one call. We need to look under the hood and figure out what you're doing that I'm not telling you to do. Where are you straying from this? I'll help you. I'll help you. Look, there's still spots available at nooffseason.com. Some of our spots include a call with me. Let's do that. Let's do that. All right. There are many more and even better plays at nooffseason.com for premium members who use our sports card rankings. Only a few spots left. Join now. If you like the content on this show and want more, go premium at nooffseason.com to get unlimited advice from me answered on our premium podcast every week. Are you ready to start grading your cards? CGC Cards is the perfect place to slab your favorite sports cards. From their crystal clear holders to their affordable pricing, CGC Cards is the perfect stop for your grading needs. Go to cgccards.com to start grading today. My big takeaway from today, everybody, is that that grading is a numbers game. All right, parting shot, grading is a numbers game. A mistake from a timing standpoint would be to buy everything, just like buy everything and accumulate it and wait until you have all of your cards and then grade everything all at once. That would be a mistake with this strategy. First of all, it would take several months to find all of your gradable cards at the target cost you need in order to execute each play. And you only need a minimum of approximately 10 for the BGS plays to make sense for the shipping, to make the shipping fee economical. And you only need a minimum of 20 with PSA for the bulk value. If you grade with us at nooffseason.com, you don't even need a minimum. So you should be submitting as you buy, basically. That's what I'm telling you to do. Maybe submit, 2 to 5 at a time. Or if you're making like plays where you're buying the Tiger Woods or the what was the second raw to grade card I gave you? The Shohei Ohtani, where you bought 83 of them. If you're buying like 80 to 100 cards, maybe submit 10 at a time, but don't submit like all 106 at a time. Because you can get them back earlier and keep the cash flowing, right? You keep the cash flowing. If you wait until you've bought all your cards before you make the grading submission, you'll have all 15K tied up for like another 4+ months. And then you'll get charged all of the PSA fees all at once on the back end. So just a little pro tip there as well. I want all of you to have a great 2026. Look, I'm here every week at the Sports Card Strategy Show. Keep tuning in. Join nooffseason.com now before you miss your opportunity. Have a great day. Thanks so much for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. If you enjoyed the content on today's show, there's plenty more waiting for you at nooffseason.com. Just go to nooffseason.com right now. You get our formula-based sports card rankings, sports card school, inventory tracker, the ability to grade with us, and the premium podcast where we answer an unlimited amount of your questions. Check it out right now at nooffseason.com. For everyone at nooffseason.com, I'm Paul Hickey. Thanks again for being here with us on the Sports Card Strategy Show. We'll see you again soon. Have a great day.